Welcome, everyone on the planet to Lamplight City. Lamplight City, city. There are some lamplights. This is, all I know is that this is by the guy that did A Golden Wake. I don't know anything else about it at all. I think it's a murder mystery. It's got some settings. Oh, we should turn this down. I don't know why they crank up the music volume over the voice volume, because 100% of the time that doesn't work. There's exactly 0 games where that works out right. Alright, anyways. I hope you guys are ready, because I'm hitting new game. Please don't crash. I'm hoping there's no soft locks or anything in this game, because I don't have anything pulled up for it. This reminds me of the train on Broken Sword. We'll wake up, the carriage is on fire. Alright, what is... Hold on. What is our narrative? I vote this is our narrative. Nobody's got any feedback. I'm drinking orange tea. Always use capital letters.
Wake up! The carriage is on fire!
That's only funny when I do it to you.
Yo, I know this VA.
What's the matter? Have a rough night?
Bit too much Bollingworth ale is all. That stuff really creeps up on you.
Sorry I couldn't join you, but I was long overdue for a quiet night in with Addie.
That's fine. There'll be plenty of other opportunities. Hell, maybe Adelaide can even join us. It's been ages since she last drank me under the table.
Afraid she mostly sticks to tea these days.
And what kind of tea is everybody drinking?
Miles, what exactly is it we're looking into? I may have dozed off during the briefing.
Same. Rum. I'm drinking orange tea. Dang, man, it's too late to... We can't play completely straight. We have to be as dramatic as possible.
You sleep through the briefings?
Sure. It's really not that difficult. Snelling's monotonous drone works better than Cold Tit's emulsified soporific.
Very fun.
What?
Anyway, it's a burglary at the Hambrook Flower Shop.
A burglary, eh? How dull. At least we'll have enough time to get a drink afterwards.
You seem awfully certain of that.
I am. In fact, I'd bet the devil my head that we're done within the hour.
Well, the devil's gonna be disappointed that his winnings are so meager.
Long dramatic, dragging R3.
We've arrived.
Pause.
After you, Bill.
Right, Bill and who? Ted? City of New Bretred. Bretonegni. Borough of... I can't read this font. Literally impossible.
Thank you. Keep the change.
Wow, how nice of him.
And so, our night of excitement begins.
You more than anyone else should know that there's
the dude
rarely a
dancing in the
dull
back's
night
my
in
favorite.
Chumley.
I have a feeling tonight will be the exception. Until we get to the pub, that is.
Keep your mind on the case, Bill. Now let's get a move on.
Contact sensitive. Just like E button in Conkers. Raving, man. I told you he was dancing, he's raving.
He's just pacing back and forth, muttering to himself.
Oh, he's raving.
Probably one of the patients from Riverview. Seems like there's more of them on the streets than in the asylum these days.
Put on your raving shoes and I boarded a plane.
An all too common sight in this part of town.
Sad to say, it hasn't really changed much since I was a boy.
Wonder, does tab do anything? That's caps locks.
I can't believe that thing made it all the way across the Atlantic in less than a week.
Don't scoff at the future, Miles. Pretty soon, we'll all be riding those things to work.
Especially considering Prince Harold is their big celebrity passenger.
Y'all remember when Dream Boom thought all Americans had an airplane? Their own, like, private airplane to fly around in?
Glad this thing is lit. This isn't really the type of place I'd prefer to be at this time of night.
Don't worry, Miles. I've got your back.
What do you mean, question mark, question mark, question mark? The Dream Boom, when he was a kid, legitimately thought all Americans had their own private airplane to fly around in?
That reminds me. I should pick up a bouquet for Addie when we're done here.
Seems like you've been spending more time with me than with her lately. I sure hope she's not the jealous type.
Looks like they've had some trouble with vandalism.
Pretty much every business in this part of town has.
Looks like they've had...
Pretty much... Fordham, what are you doing?
I was gonna check inside this trash can for clues.
Miles, in the 15 years we've been partners, how many times have you found something inside a trash can that wasn't garbage?
Fair point.
Look, sometimes the perpetrator throws things away. And that's how you catch them. I've done it before. Wouldn't be the first time. I mean, I've caught them before that way. Not me being the perpetrator throwing away garbage. Last.
Come
Forgot
on,
these
Bill.
guys' name. Bill and... Yeah, exactly, Sangria.
Charming little place, isn't it?
Charming, but empty. We need to find the owner.
Always so to the point, Fordham. If ever
Fordham.
there was a better time to stop and smell the flowers.
I think I'll leave that to you, Bill.
With my allergies? Hardly.
That's me. Allergies and no sense of smell. Flowers are my biggest enemy. Blue Eyes Right Track. Red Eye? I went on the deep dive actually yesterday about Red Eye.
Plants hanging on hooks. A nice space-saving method.
I'd probably bang my head against them constantly if I had them in my apartment.
Same. Probably because I wanted to die from my allergies.
These prices are pretty reasonable. The place I go in Worcester's clearly robbing me blind.
If you think those are bad, don't go near the flower shops in Lyon.
True.
This is quite the selection. Come over here and take a whiff, Bill.
Sure, if you don't mind me getting snot all over your coat.
Oh, no, not the Myers case all over again. On second thought, you can just stay over there. Not too many left. Seems business isn't so bad around here.
Well, you know what they say. There are only 3 certainties in life. Death, taxes, and people taking advantage of sales.
True. Man, this game actually has a save? Oh my god. I better save right now.
Not too many left. Seems business isn't so bad around here.
Well, you know what they say. There are only 3 certainties.
I forgot what it was like to save.
These seem to be part of the watering system for the flowers.
I haven't seen old piping like this in a while. Seems like someone's reluctant to upgrade.
IRL?
It says private.
Well, that's one mystery solved.
What?
The staircase isn't very well lit.
I'll go first. That way you can catch me if I fall.
We should probably ask for permission before heading up there.
Better to ask for forgiveness.
Mostly a bunch of fertilizer and growth tonics.
Growth tonics, eh?
Plant growth tonics, Bill.
Of course. I knew that.
I don't get it.
Be right there. Oh, hello, gentlemen. I must say you caught me by surprise. I was preparing to close soon. May I help you find anything? The flowers in the center display are half price this week, and I have a special on chrysanthemums today. Or perhaps a custom bouquet for the special ladies in your lives?
I have no need myself, but maybe Adelaide would appreciate a little something. Eh, Miles? Those peonies in the corner look nice.
I'm afraid we're not here as customers tonight, ma'am. We'd like to have a word with the proprietor. Is he in?
I see. I'm Cecilia Handbook, and this is my shop. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
I'm Detective Miles Fordham, and this is my partner, William Legere. We received a report of a burglary at your store.
A report? From whom? I never contacted the police before, and I didn't this time, either.
It was made anonymously. But are you saying this isn't the first time it's happened?
Correct. It's happened 3 times. But considering the police hardly care about the daily muggings and vandalisms around here, I didn't think they would be interested in something so trivial.
Well, we're here now, and we'll do all we can to help you.
We'll have to see about that.
If you wouldn't mind, Mrs. Sandbrook, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Very well,
Did you never know that,
Detective.
Sangria? If you read the sign in front of it, it literally says the Well of 3 Features. That you never knew. It had an actual name on a sign in front of the well. This reminds me a lot of that one game I didn't like that I forgot the name of, with the guy that really liked his hair. I forgot.
Could you give me the details concerning the burglaries?
About
I wonder if
3
this
weeks
was
ago
inspired
on
by-
Monday, I noticed that my order of Easter lilies was missing. At first, I thought nothing of it. Sometimes certain types of flowers are unavailable or arrive in poor condition. These things happen. Then
Knight
2 weeks
something?
ago on
Greg
Wednesday,
Knight?
It happened again. But
It's
this
missing a
time, I
dozen.
noticed something
Don't worry.
rather odd.
Go on.
When I opened the shop,
Gabriel Knight?
there was
I think
6
that was it.
crowns and 10 shillings on the counter.
I'm writing these things
That's
down.
exactly the cost of 2 orders of lilies. Last Friday, it happened yet again. The lilies were missing, and there was payment for 1 order on the counter. I believe that someone has been breaking into my shop after hours, taking the lilies, and leaving money behind.
Okay, I have a great
Unusual.
story to tell real quick. So I used to live in the richest town in the state that I lived in. Is that a problem? Okay, here we go. Alright, so I used to live in this town. It was the richest town in the state that I lived in. And we would talk about, like, how, people would be like, oh, what, blah, 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 stealing and stuff. Like, the subject of stealing would come up in meetings and stuff like that. And we would always bring up this one situation where Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I think, had just come out. Or one of the GTA games that came out. And so I worked at a GameStop or whatever. I don't know if I mentioned that part. But Vice City, I think, had just come out. And it was pre-order only. So, like, for the first day, we only sold to people that had pre-ordered it. So this one guy came in and he was like, hey, do you guys have Vice City in? And we're like, yes. Do you have a pre-ordered or whatever? He's like, no. We're like, well, sorry, we're only selling to pre-orders today. And so he kind of like, you know, walked around or whatever. I wasn't actually here for this. I'm telling the story from somebody else's perspective. So the guy like walked around for a minute and then like came back to the counter and was like, can I look at the box? Can I see what it looks? Can I just, you know, just check out the box or whatever? And the manager was like, yeah, sure. And so he handed him the case, and the guy throws $60 on the counter and then just hightails it out of there. Just ran out. Like, the games at the time were only like $55 or whatever. And so we always talk about how that was how people, yeah, that's how people would steal. This wasn't a one-time situation. That's how people would steal in the city that I lived in at the time. Like, people would just, they would steal, like, do something wrong but still pay for it kind of thing. Like, we would find, like, where kids would buy, they couldn't buy like rated M games or whatever, so they would steal them but still put the money like on the shelf or something like that in its place, and just weird stuff like that. So this just reminded me of that. People had a very unique way of doing things in that city. I remember one time I was standing in another game store that was in the same city, and I was sitting there shopping or whatever, and this lady opens the door, steps in, and goes, I need the, like, she just yells this out, I need the newest Tron game. And like, I look over, like, everybody just turns around and looks over at her. She has pulled up on the curb, her car is still running, and the door is open. And she's just standing there with her purse out. I assume her child was just like, this is what I want, Mom. Go get this for me. It was a very odd town. But once again, rich people are weird, so. Anyways, back to Lamplight City. John Bond.
Have you noticed any suspicious characters lurking around?
Detective Fordham, this is Chumley. You can't throw a stone without hitting a suspicious character. And if you've noticed my window, you'd be aware that stones get thrown around quite a bit in this neighborhood. If you're looking for trouble, you're far more likely to find it out there than in here.
I meant if you'd seen anyone out of the ordinary near your shop.
Only the 2 men from the police who entered it tonight. That is most definitely out of the ordinary.
Oh.
Have you found any evidence of a break-in?
No, the front door is always locked. My assistant Trevor and I are the only ones with the key.
Are there any other points of access to the building?
The upstairs windows, I suppose, but I make sure to keep them locked, and neither of them have been broken.
Would you allow us to have a look upstairs?
Is that really necessary? I was just about to close up the shop.
It won't take but a moment.
Fine, I suppose you may, but please, don't dally too long.
So this burglar has been paying for the stolen goods?
That would appear to be the case, yes. I really don't think this could even be considered a crime. That's one of the reasons I didn't bother reporting it to the police.
And the other reasons?
Oh, I think I've already made those quite clear, Detective.
I see.
You mentioned your assistant has the other shop key. What can you tell me about him?
His name is Trevor Hastings, and he has been working for me for the past 10 years.
Do you trust him?
Implicitly. I've known him for ages, and he has been my full-time assistant since shortly after my husband died. You're not suggesting he had anything to do with this, are you?
Not at all. I would like to speak with him, though. Where might I find him?
It's Friday, so he should be on his way back from the docks right now. He'll be bringing my flower order within the hour.
Good. We'll meet him here, then. If that's all right with you.
I suppose I don't really have much of a choice, do I?
I mean, you can trust the guy, but he can also still accidentally lose the key
Have you been in business
in
long?
the garbage can.
Yes, I opened this shop 30 years ago, along with my late husband, David. But the past 10 years, I've been running things on my own.
Don't you feel unsafe being here by yourself so late into the night?
Detective, when you've lived in this part of town as long as I have, it takes quite a lot to scare you.
I think that's all the information I need for now.
All right, Detective.
Casebook. Right click. Oh, God. Puzzle piece. I found it. Dude, this is actual, like, we're solving a mystery. I mean, we're solving a mystery, but we're solving a mystery. Like settling
Interesting
in
choice of
to my
decor
brain.
in here.
Perhaps it wasn't always used as a storeroom, although I can understand why it would have been converted.
Yeah, it is rather drafty in here.
It is rather drafty in here, question mark.
A pastoral landscape. Definitely nowhere near here.
I've never much understood art, but it would be nice to see a place like that in person.
What was that game I played? Something City. The city. The dang city games. Water City? Lake City? I forgot what it was. The whole town, it was a, Cthulhu-ish game. The whole city was flooded. I don't know.
Thinking about life's great mysteries again, are you?
Yes. Anyways, I do and don't like sometimes, like if I'm in the mood for one of those games where you're like really solving a mystery, I think that game was really well done in terms of like really solving a mystery. I didn't like that game overall, but like this just made me think of that. And like I'm in the mood right now to solve a mystery. I hope we actually solve a mystery.
I would imagine that keeping a consistent temperature in here is important for the flowers.
When do you suppose this contraption was last serviced?
You remember that game, B?
Hard to say. Definitely not recently, if the dust buildup is any indication.
The people were like fish people. It was interesting because it was like you were thrown into the city and you had to solve the mystery. And so you had to like sit there. Like there were so many times I spent just like rubbing my temples trying to trying to think of like, okay, they say something happened to the food. So where do we go to think where did this food come from? Yeah, the Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft one. I had to like sit there and think. It was like, okay, this guy works in a factory. Is there a factory in town? So I'm like looking at the map. I'm like, this kind of looks like it could be a factory. Let's head over there. So we run over there. There's no factory. I was looking for the fish market, so I was like staring at the street names. And one of them was like Fish Street. And I was like, oh, this has got to be it. Fire escape.
This provides a means of escape from the top floor, or access to this window from the ground. The window latch, securely locked. Interesting. There's a gap between the window and the frame here. No wonder it's so drafty in this room.
That's how they got in.
I wonder.
What are you thinking, Fordham?
That it's time for an experiment. I'm going to need a tool, however. Something long and thin should do the trick.
Shouldn't be too hard to find something like that around here.
I need coat hanger.
Lamplight City, in all her glory. A rather distinguished-looking gentleman.
Reminds me of Captain Snelling, if he ever smiled.
A young lady. Perhaps a relation of Mrs. Hanbrook?
I can see the resemblance. Sort of.
Sort of. Could be Miss Hanbrook.
Seems to be the broken pot storage area.
Why not just throw them away, I wonder?
It's likely they're going to be repaired. I noticed some faint cracks in some of the pots downstairs.
Ah. Big piece of licorice. Maybe it'll be this thing. Any licorice fans out there? I love licorice. And anise. Who was it? Dougie was telling me I should throw some anise and ginger into, some tea. I forgot
I've
what
seen
it
this
was.
type of device before. It's a special container for growing plants. Specific temperature and water conditions can be adjusted. Seems to be empty right now, though. And judging by the dust, it hasn't been used in a long time, if ever.
It seems Mrs. Hanbrook isn't too fond of steam tech, or just doesn't understand it.
Anise flavor toothpaste? No way.
Seems to be the broken pot storage area.
Why not?
It's like unmarked, but if the smell is anything to go by, this is where the flowers are stored when delivered.
I'll keep my distance then.
I don't think this window would serve as a viable means of entry.
It's a nice view, though. You can hardly see the vomit and manure piles on the street from up here.
Mm-hmm. Alright, where's the pixel? Alright, look at the heater. I think I did.
I would imagine that keeping a consistent temperature in here is important for the flowers.
When do you suppose this contraption was last
I
serviced?
completely forgot if
Hard
we
to
looked at
say.
this or not.
Definitely not recently, if the dust buildup is any indication. Bill?
What's going on, Miles?
Oh, hey.
I've heard of honor among thieves. But have you ever known a thief to pay for stolen goods?
Perhaps
Absolutely.
conducting normal business is just too boring for him. Do you think he might be doing it for the thrill?
There could be any number of reasons. The best way to find out is to catch the culprit and ask him ourselves. You ever miss living out here, Bill?
About as much as you missed stepping in that pile of horseshit last week.
I was distracted by that story you were telling me about your sister. How's she doing out west, anyway?
Well, she's not in the chum, so fantastic. Living here was about as fun as wearing a vest made of meat to a dogfight. I'm glad we both managed to get out. Oh, and by the way, Miles, you didn't do such a great job of cleaning your shoes.
That would explain all the funny looks I've been getting.
Who's everybody's favorite character between the two?
Still feeling rough, Bill?
Yes, but I'll feel better once his case is finished and we can go down to the Angel for a pint or four.
Hair of the dog?
No better medicine.
The old lady is not between these two. Unless.
When's the last time you took any time off?
That's a good question. What year is this again?
I think we've both been working a bit too much lately. Addie's been wanting
Red
to go
time,
visit her
Bill.
mother in Dixie. Maybe we can all go.
Well, sounds nice, but I wouldn't want to be a third wheel on a visit to your in-laws. Unless... Would Adelaide's brother
Name of the
be
village
there
that was
by
in the
any
question,
chance?
Andre.
You're incorrigible, Bill.
It's one of my finer qualities.
What's the name of the chocobo found in the Black Mage Village? The village called the Black Mage Village.
Got any opinions on the
Okay,
upcoming
I can't read
election?
either.
I'll just be glad when it's all over. Seems like the last few months have been nothing but people giving opinions and telling me what to do without a moment's peace.
I know what you mean. I already saw some kids putting up Atwood posters down my street.
I already
Atwood.
drew mustaches in all the ones on my street.
Handlebar?
You know me too well.
I
He
always
drew
thought
all
of
the.
Atwood as more of a Van Dyke type of man myself.
I can see that. Yeah. Well, there's something to do tomorrow.
The gap in the window upstairs is intriguing.
Do you think it might be the point of entry?
Indeed. I just need to find something long and thin to confirm my theory.
I think you were born with something like that, Miles.
You're disgusting. Bill.
I
Wow.
know. That's why I always do the dirty work.
Wow.
Let's get back to it.
All right.
Wow.
A pastoral landscape.
I've never much understood.
Hmm. Hotspot icons?
Aha! This hook is exactly what I need. Mrs. Hanbrook, may I borrow this hook for a few minutes? It's crucial to our investigation.
Is that so?
Yes, I promise I'll put it back as soon as I'm done.
Please do, Detective.
Mm-hmm. Better save.
Good. Bill, it's time for our experiment.
And what is this experiment going to be exactly?
Simple. I'm going to see if this hook can get me inside the shop.
Alright, good luck.
Rather dark out here.
Watch your step then. This experiment of yours isn't worth a broken neck.
I'll
Uh-oh.
be fine. Now then, could you please close and lock the window, Bill?
Oh, I'm in control. I'm not in control.
Well, I'd say this is fairly incontrovertible proof that the building can easily be broken into without arousing suspicion.
Where'd you learn how to do that anyway?
You taught me, remember?
Nah. Are you sure it was me?
Positive. We were a few pints in at the Angel about 5 years ago, and you decided I should learn how to pick locks.
What else have I taught you how to do while drunk?
That would be telling.
Mm-hmm. Let's go put the hook back.
Ah, Trevor.
Evening, Cecilia. I've got the order ready to bring in.
Trevor, these are Detectives Fordham and Leger. They say there's been a report about the burglaries, and they're here investigating.
I only did it because I think it's been going on too long. As much as you want to, we can't handle this ourselves.
We can discuss the matter later. In the meantime, the detective would like a word with you.
I'll be needing to bring in the flowers first, if that's all right. Otherwise, some hooligan's likely to run off with them.
My partner will keep an eye on your flowers. Bill, would you mind?
Ah, the glamour of police work.
Now, Mr. Hastings, if I could ask you a few questions.
Go on, then.
What can you tell me about the recent burglaries?
I wish Cecilia had contacted you lots sooner. She's a damn fine woman. But sometimes I think she'd rather jump in a rose bush than ask for help. Had to take matters into my own hands. This needs taken care of, and we can't do it on our own, as much as Cecilia would like to.
Yo, hello, Try.
Anyhow, alls I know is someone's been making off with some flowers and leaving money behind. No idea who it could be, how they're getting in, or why they even bother paying. In my day, If you robbed a place, you did it the right way. It's a sad state of affairs when even burglars don't do their jobs correctly.
Do you have much experience with burglary, Mr. Hastings?
Now, I never said that, Detective.
Have you noticed anyone or anything suspicious around here recently?
Nothing but the usual roughnecks, ragamuffins, and drunkards. Like I said, it's a real mystery.
Could you walk me through the process of your deliveries?
Of course, there's no great science to it. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons, Cecilia gives me her list of flowers to pick up from the wholesalers. I head over to Gascone around sunset when they get their shipment, and I give them her order. They load up the crate, I pay for it, and then I lug it back here.
How long does that take?
Between moving the crate and getting it across the river on the ferry, a couple of hours. Usually the store's closed by then, so I use my key to get in and leave the crate inside for Cecilia to open in the morning. That's all there is to it. Told you it wasn't very complicated.
Do you ever leave the crate unattended during that time?
No, sir. Never more than a minute. I may be old, but I got good eyes. I'd see if there were anything amiss. Besides that, I check to make sure the crate is still sealed when I drop it off. I'm not about to let Cecilia down by being careless.
How long have you been working for Mrs. Hanbrook?
Been about 10 years now, I reckon. I used to help with deliveries now and then when it was her and David, her husband. But after he passed, she offered to make me her assistant. Unfortunate way to get it, but I needed the work. Used to be I had a job at one of the airship yards, but they let me go after I was injured by one of those newfangled steam machines. So the offer came at a good time. Besides that, Cecilia needed looking after, even though she'd never admit it. If I'm being honest, we're both getting a bit long in the tooth. Not sure how much longer we'll be keeping this up, but as long as I'm upright and breathing, I'll be bringing these crates along, even if it is murder on my back.
I admire your work ethic.
I've got a job to do. Not enough people these days seem to respect that.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Hastings. I'll let you get back to work.
Appreciate it, Detective.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind, Detective, I still need to check the crate before I bring it in.
Of course. Thank you again for your help.
Learn anything?
Possibly. I may have an idea.
Ah, you're being cryptic. That's always a good sign. But if you've got a plan, let's talk about it.
Oh, thank you, Detective. That's quite decent of you.
I got an achievement. And of my word.
I have a few more questions for you, Mrs. Hanbrook.
Very well, Detective. If it will help you conclude your investigation
Thank
faster.
you.
Mrs. Hanbrook, were you aware that there's a gap in the frame of the small upstairs window?
Is there? I only go up there to check that the window is locked. I've never noticed a gap. Are you suggesting that's how the burglar is entering the store?
Precisely. I believe the burglar is passing a tool through the gap and using it to unlock the window.
Oh my.
But now that we know the method, we're one step closer to catching him.
And how do you propose to do that?
I'll inform you as soon as I know. I think that's all the information I need for now.
All right, Detective.
Got a minute, Bill?
For you, Miles, I've got 5.
You like our detective hats? I don't know what is this. I don't know what this one's called. This one's a bowler? Something, because it's bowl shape.
Any thoughts on Mrs. Hanbrook's assistant, Trevor?
Yes, I feel sorry for him.
Why? He seems to enjoy his work.
Nah, it's not that. He's obviously smitten with Mrs. Hanbrook, but she won't give him the time of day.
What? You only saw him for a few moments. How in the ether did you get that impression?
The way he looked at her, the way he spoke when he confessed to contacting the police. Shall I go on?
No, that's fine. I see what you mean.
Really, Miles? You'd be surprised what you can learn from people if you just look at them.
Why bother doing that when I've got you to do it for me?
Why is this a 2-person job?
What's your impression of dear old Mrs. Hanbrook?
I like her. Good old-fashioned, tough-as-nails Chumley woman. Reminds me of my mother.
Your mother was never quite so stubborn. Why do you suppose she's so reluctant to accept our help?
It's a chum thing, Miles. You wouldn't understand.
Right. Based on what we've been told in our experiment, I can only conclude that our burglar is using the upstairs window to get into the shop.
So what do you propose we do about it?
It's happened repeatedly over the past 3 weeks, on one of the delivery nights. Since it has yet to occur this week, and today is Friday, logic dictates it should be tonight.
So we settle in and wait to see if the burglar returns? Catch him in the act?
Exactly. It's our best chance of solving this before the trail goes cold.
And I was really looking forward to getting that drink at the Angel tonight, too.
I know, but it's as you said yourself. There'll be plenty of other opportunities. Besides, forbearance is good for the soul.
Spoken like someone who truly has no idea how to have any fun.
I'm sure I'll get the hang of it one of these days, especially with your expert tutelage.
Okay, let's go have a chat with Mrs. Hambrook. I'm sure she'll be delighted to know we're spending the night. Damn, I forgot to bring my deck of cards again.
At least it's quiet up here. I'm surprised we didn't go deaf after the last time we did this.
What?
I said... Oh, right. Your sense of humor remains on point.
Miles, have you ever considered leaving all this behind?
What, you mean quitting the force?
The Force, the city,
Life.
going off and seeing what else is out there, you know?
I'd miss it too much. Wouldn't you?
I was thinking I might visit Harley out west. She makes it sound like a dream in her letters. Wide open spaces, fresh air. I know I'm a city boy and would probably miss New Britannia's filth and squalor after a week, but...
You should do it. A change of scenery never hurt anyone. Plus, it's much easier for you than it is for me. I've got a family to consider, after all.
Ah, right.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that, Bill. It's just...
Shh. I think I heard something.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
He's really tall.
Stop! Police!
Damn it! He's gone up the fire escape. We can corner him on the
Bill,
roof.
what the hell?
Stay close and keep me covered.
The guy who lost his hat. That's who's gonna die. Oh, he's falling off the side.
Stay back, officer. Got a knife. Ready your pistol for him.
But you're too close!
I trust you, Miles. Your pistol, now!
There's really no need for this, officer. I respect your desire to uphold justice. Mine is more important. If you let me go, I won't come back. And we can all forget this ever happened.
Don't listen to this lunatic, Miles. Take your shot before things get worse.
Take a shot.
No!
Oh my god, I shot the wrong guy.
Bill! Oh, God!
Oh my god, Bill, no.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I am so sorry.
Oh my god. When did we save? 3 months later. I miss Bill. I hope he comes back like Joey. Is this his hat? Oh my god.
Miles, wake up! Your house is on fire!
Huh? What?
You see, I told you it was funnier when I did it to you.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, no.
Hilarious.
What's the matter? Have a rough night?
Overdid it on the soporific. Why do I feel like I've had this conversation before?
I'm just glad you're in the mood to converse
Oh
again.
my god, I need to
Seriously,
get up and walk
you took
around
so
for 20
much of
minutes.
that snake oil last night, I was starting to think you wanted me quiet for good.
Where is he? Are there any ghosts in a Golden Lake?
It's no personal slight. I just need some quiet time, or I'll go insane.
I get it. We all need our space. I know it's not easy, but there's really no need.
Not easy. Bill, I've been hearing your voice since you died. You don't shut up unless I take that accursed medicine. I'd say that qualifies as a bit more than not easy.
Yeah, well, how do you
Ow.
think I feel? You think I enjoy being trapped here, listening to you whine about how hard your life's become? You at least still have yours.
Oh my god. Where's Joey? I miss Joey.
I'm losing my grip on reality, and it's all because of you.
Believe me, I know. It's not a pretty situation. But the bottom fact is, you're stuck with me. So you can either keep living this way and ruin your life even more than you already have, or you can do as I've told you and try to figure out a way to let me move on.
Wait, so what happened with the flower case? Did we ever solve that one? Why, are we still solving that one?
Right. For the 1000th time, you want me to find the burglar from the flower shop.
Yes, exactly.
I still don't get how that's going to help.
I can understand your confusion, considering it was you who killed me. But the point remains. You wouldn't have been in that situation in the first place if not for him. Once the criminal has been caught and is in custody, we'll both get what we want.
Justice.
A decent night's sleep?
More than that, you'll have that elusive thing you always wanted to give others. Closure.
You do realize the trail's pretty much frozen at this point. Our man has seemingly vanished into the ether.
That's no excuse not to keep trying. I know the cases Upton's been giving you these past few months haven't been the most thrilling, but they've at least kept you active. So just keep at it. Something has to turn up eventually. Unless, of course, you want to wind up in Riverview Asylum. And if that happens, I'm really not going to keep quiet.
Fine.
Good man. Now, I suggest you stop talking to thin air, or Adelaide's going to start wondering if you've gone mental. Or just maybe she'll stop wondering.
Very funny.
Thank you, Dream Ben, for upvoting all my photos. I'm 100% sure the thing was glitched. But it is what it is. I glitched. Yes. One of those photos doesn't show up in my snapshots on my client side, Dreambin. One of the ones you posted. I also didn't expect the game to go like this.
You should have let me be buried wearing my hat. At least it wouldn't be gathering dust like it is now.
If I'd done that, it would be dust right now.
Heh, fair point.
There's a picture with you and me, and there was the one that you said got 14 likes. That's not even in my folder. Maybe.
That poster brings back some memories. That's from around the time you two met, isn't it?
Yes, back when Addie was singing at the Angel.
It's admirable just how organized Adelaide is. Maybe someday the same can be said about you.
Wow.
I always like that self-portrait of Adelaide's mother, even if the eyes do always follow you around the room. Cozy little winter getaway. That would be a welcome change from the winters in this city.
Wonder, have we got any... Oh, we're not on a case. Man, well, at least we, our whole goal is to solve the flowers case.
Wouldn't you say it's time for a change of clothes, Miles? You've been wearing that coat for who knows how long.
So? Addie gave it to me. Besides, it gives me character.
Right. Brooding detective in a long black coat. That's never been seen before.
What are you talking about, Bill?
Never mind.
I wish we could see Bill, like Joey.
That's a fun little apparatus Adelaide got you. Very soothing.
Watching it spin long enough puts me right to sleep.
I'd say that's really more the soporifics doing. Remember before you started taking that medicine and you could actually read a book for more than 10 minutes before falling asleep? You were a lot more fun to talk to back then. Don't worry, Miles. I don't watch when you and Adelaide are having your private time.
It would be nice if you didn't spend the whole time humming.
I thought you appreciated some romantic music. I'm certain a permanent indentation in the shape of your rear is starting to form on that thing. Pretty, but I'm glad I don't have a sense of smell anymore. Adelaide's last performance. She could really bring the house down.
Well, look who's awake. Ready to rejoin the living?
Very much so.
What does that mean?
You were talking in your sleep again.
Did I say anything interesting?
Do you ever?
You have to admit, she's got you there.
How are you feeling?
A touch groggy. I think I took a bit too much of the soporific last night.
That's what I thought. When you went for your after-lunch nap, you'd barely gotten breakfast down. I saved you some bread and cheese if you're hungry.
Thank you, but I haven't got much of an appetite.
You really should regulate your doses more carefully, love. I'm sure dull senses and an empty stomach aren't much help to your work. By the way, a message arrived via courier for you this morning. I put it on the table along with today's newspaper.
Thank you, dear.
This reminds me of Gabriel Knight, like when you would go into the office and the girl would be like, I got you the newspaper and whatever on your desk. You're back. You'll never guess what happened while you left. Take a completely random guess. Time travel? No. Oh my god, I can't read this. It's real and it's coming. Alright, good newspaper, everyone. I can't read this. Fernham, a big case has come in, which I think will interest you. Meet me at the Rowan, I don't know, coffee house for some more details. See Uptown.
Upton says she's got a big case for me.
Does she go into any more detail than that?
No, but then you know Upton. Always on a need-to-know basis, especially since she's been giving me these cases under the table.
To be fair, they haven't exactly been anything of note.
True, but she's still sticking her neck out for me. I can understand why she's so secretive about it.
I think she just misses having you around the station.
Poor Connie. With you quitting and me dying, she must be bored stiff at work.
Anyway, I'm supposed to meet her at the ruined coffee house. That can't be right.
It's not like Constance to make mistakes. She must have gotten in somehow.
Guess I'll head over there and see what she's got then.
You remember how much time Adelaide had to spend convincing you to sit for this? At least these days, with ferrotype tech advancing the way it is, these portraits can be done in just a matter of minutes. Adelaide's father certainly had an amazing life. Imagine being the personal barber to the Prime Minister and his family. The gossip and secrets he must have heard.
So we found the culprit. He was trying to sneak in, and when we ran outside to stop him, he grabbed Bill and I shot Bill. Long story short.
Didn't I give you two that clock as a wedding present? Too bad it stopped working.
Why did it stop working?
How are your parents doing these days? It's been ages since you wrote them.
The option came up to shoot, and I said, sure.
Building those model ships was a good way to pass the time between cases. Hopefully it'll be a while before you get enough time to build another one. It's been so long since you used that desk. Did you even notice when Adelaide got rid of the chair?
Oh, what?
Ah, the Havisham case. Our first time out as partners. First in a long line of successful cases. It's nice to have a memory of the good old days. I'd love to see the look on Snelling's face if he ever found out you kept your old truncheon. I always liked that painting. It's impossible to see that kind of scenery here in the city.
Yeah. Is he possessing you? I don't know, because he's not, like, here. I think we're insane. I'm with Claude. I don't think he's really here. I think we just think he's here.
I shouldn't be gone too long.
Take care of yourself out there.
Insane with grief. Oh my god, it is. This is Gabriel Knight.
Ah, the Rouen Coffee House. Worst Java in Lamplight City, but there's no better place to overhear all the rumors and gossip in town. Just make sure you don't get too close to the other patrons. Discretion was never your forte. Self-Portrait as a Desperate Man by B. Calvert. A bit like looking in the mirror, isn't it, Miles?
Wow.
What a cheery reminder of everyone's impending death. That whole thing about the man in the black robe, complete lie, by the way. Nice seaside landscape. Definitely a stark contrast to the ambiance in here. Dr. Tennyson's Vigor Pills. Absolutely guaranteed to restore vitality, youth, and vigor, or your money back. For use by men only. These things seem to have had a spike in popularity recently. Not in much of a hurry to clean up in here, are they? Best avoid that one. He looks like he might tip over at any moment. Reminds me of when I was alive. Ah, good times. All that metal and tubing just to serve a hot cup of coffee?
Interesting that they decide to use this crazy voice in our head as the way of, like, interpreting objects. Because in most games, the main character just, like, talks out loud to himself. They're like, George, why are you talking to yourself?
He's missing his left arm below the elbow. How do you suppose that happened? He and his friend are having quite the conversation. I bet it's really boring. She's running back and forth at lightning speed. Clearly, she dips into the coffee supply. Judging by the sooty apron, this man is either a metal worker, a chimney sweep, or just really lazy when it comes to washing. Just one of many patrons contributing to the oppressive thug in here. A young woman holding a guitar. Completely the wrong way, I might add. Asleep at a coffee house. One of life's little ironies.
Wait a minute.
If this is how they store their coffee beans, it's probably a better idea to ask for tea. The specialty house brews. These are definitely not coffee.
If it isn't my old friend, up to no good.
Hello, Fordham. It's good to see you.
What?
How did you get them to let you in here?
It's rather simple, really. The owner and I have an understanding. He pretends women are allowed in coffee houses, and I don't report his unsavory business practices to Chief Snelling.
Sounds like a good deal. What sort of unsavory business practices are we talking about?
Oh, we haven't got time to get into that now. But take some advice. Don't order anything that isn't water.
Managed to sneak another case past Snelling, eh?
Yes, and if he finds out I did, it won't be pretty. This is a big one. We're not in Lost Cat territory anymore.
So stop teasing me and tell me what it is already.
Do you know Madame Laura Dupre?
Laura Dupre. She's one of those Gascon Grand Dames, isn't she?
That's right. I'm surprised you've heard of her. I didn't think you cared about those types of people.
I don't, but Adelaide has several of them as clients. She gets paid to pretend to care about their lives, and I get to hear the sort of details.
Madame Dupre died the day before yesterday. Her funeral was held this morning.
My condolences.
But halfway through the service, the mourners heard a loud knocking coming from inside her coffin.
She
Uh-oh.
wasn't dead?
Apparently not. Nearly interred alive, although her doctor swears she had no pulse. Dupre's son Andrew was quick to suspect foul play. He accused a man named Albert Martin, and the police arrested him.
So where do I come in? Sounds like the case has already been solved.
I strongly suspect that Martin is innocent, especially considering the talk of him having used black magic on Dupre. The police feel they have enough evidence to convict, so they're not bothering to investigate any further. You're going to look into it and see if I'm right. Then find the person who was really behind this.
Oh.
Has Madame Dupre recovered from her ordeal?
I'm afraid not. Apparently she's been catatonic since they pulled her out of the coffin.
How unfortunate.
If you'd like to question Mr. Martin, he's being held at the Bow Street Jail. Or you could take a look around his house. It's at 451 Compton Street in Worcester.
And the Dupre home?
That's at Emmeline and Comtesse, right across from the old Angeline convent. It's also possible you might run into the police during your investigation, since they're technically still on the case.
Thanks for the warning.
Was there anything you wanted to talk about before you get started?
This is reminding me more and more of Gabriel Knight.
Yes, actually, I had a couple of questions.
Let's hear them then.
How are things going with you?
Work is hectic as usual, and I'm spending my day off in here. But considering my home life is still a shambles, maybe this is the best place to be.
I'm truly sorry about that.
Don't be ridiculous. If it hadn't been for you, I'd still be chained to that philandering bastard. It hasn't been easy, but I'm much better off this way. Trust me. Anyway, work gives me something to focus on. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yes, and I'm grateful to you for getting me these case leads. I know you're taking a risk to do it.
It's the least I can do. How about you? How's Adelaide?
She's fine, although things between us could be improved, if I'm being honest. The less said about it right now, the better, I think.
I'm sorry to hear that. You can talk to me about it if you need to, although I'm probably not the best person to ask for relationship advice.
Don't suppose there have been any developments regarding Bill's murder?
Unfortunately not. The department hasn't exactly been focusing on that case as a priority. The general attitude is that it was an accident. Bill died an honorable death in the line of duty.
Would have been nice if they bothered saying that at the funeral.
And of course, there are still those who blame you for his death, Snelling being the first and foremost.
But the man who really caused Bill's death is still out there.
Well, just
Yes,
because I shot him doesn't mean I'm the one that
Looks like
killed
you're on
him.
your own if you want to find him. My hands are tied. I can only ask around so much before the higher-ups get suspicious. Just don't give up. New Britannia may be a big city, but the criminal world is surprisingly close-knit. If you find any connections or leads during your other cases, be sure and let me know. I'll do the same if I find anything out.
See, she has a priority straight. You could learn a lot from Upton.
What's Upton?
I wanted to go over the case with you.
Okay, what have you got?
What do you know about Madame Dupre?
Only what I've read about her in the paper. She's been married thrice, which I can empathize with, and she's extremely rich, which I can't.
What makes you think this Martin fellow is innocent?
The fact that the only evidence is the word of Dupre's son. I've seen this sort of thing thousands of times, and I'm sure you did too. They're just looking for a scapegoat. You're the only person I know who can put it right.
Upton's intentions are noble, but she has to realize this is just a drop in the ocean.
That's enough about the case for now.
Okay,
That's it, I think.
then you'd better get back to it.
Well, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to help you find the flower shop burglar, but I suppose freeing an innocent man is a worthy diversion.
True. Alright, where are we going? Oh god, there's autosaves. The manor, jail, dude's house, my house. I say we go to his house first. My jail's out. Do you and lights, but you're bugged out. I haven't really been posting any recently either because I haven't been really playing the game. Go to jail? I'm gonna go to the guy's house.
Ah, Compton Street. We're not too far from Restaurant Row. When's the last time you ate, anyway?
Please, let's not add eating to the list of things to nag me about.
I think it's just like that on your end, Dreamboom. Just you. And it's this new feature. It's just the new feature is messed up. They just added it, so...
One of Atwood's re-election posters, sorely lacking a mustache. Go on, Miles. Fix this grievous injustice.
Not now, Bill. There are more important things to worry about.
Spoil sport.
Can't believe Dreamboom's coming in my house to delete all my photos just because I got more likes. My Nikki photos. When are you streaming Nikki again, Dreamboom?
I'm glad that Coulson still uses horses. I don't trust the new self-driving cabs.
Self-driving cabs? What the F? Alright, quick reminder, this was 2018, I think.
Considering how many eating establishments are in this neighborhood, the butcher picked a fantastic spot to set up shop. I do notice a distinct lack of stray cats in this neighborhood, though. Bon Bon's restaurant. I never got a chance to go there, but I hear their deviled eggs are simply to die for.
I care, Dreamboom. I care. Somebody get you up to speed? Alright, so these two guys went to go investigate. Hold on, I got hiccups. These two guys went to investigate some, not actually a robbery, and some dude was sneaking into the flower shop to buy flowers. And we confronted the guy, and I shot my partner instead of the guy because I'm a horrible shot. And so he's now dead, but I still hear his voice. And I'm not convinced that we're hearing the ghost of his voice. I think we just hear his voice in our head out of guilt for having shot the guy. That's what I think.
I'm sorry, I have no time for visitors today.
Might also be a ghost.
I need to speak with you about Albert Martin.
Albert? Are you with the police?
No, I'm a private investigator.
Oh, I don't think you can help. I'm sorry.
Sorry to bother you. I'll be on my way.
Good day to you, sir.
Oh, that was quick. Alright, well, to jail then.
Fordham? Is that you? You look like something a cat spat up.
I just woke
Hello,
up.
Giles. It's lovely to see you too.
What brings you round the jail? I thought you'd quit being a detective.
I'm looking to speak with Mr. Albert Martin.
Oh, I see. Well, that's him in the first cell there. I'd say what needs saying as quick as you can, though. He's headed for the gallows in the morning.
What? Already? But what about a trial?
No trial necessary when there's black magic involved. This little half-breed's already sealed his fate.
Such a charming fellow, isn't he?
What do you know about...
Mr. Martin?
Who are you? My lawyer?
No, I'm actually here to help you. The name's
I
Miles
was gonna
Fordham,
make a Gabriel Knight
private
joke, but I
investigator.
couldn't remember what they did.
How are you going to help me?
I'm looking into the attack on Madame Dupre. I believe you're innocent.
Oh, thank heaven. That's music to my ears.
Would you mind answering a few questions for me?
Friend, if it means saving me from the noose, I'll tell you nothing less than God's truth.
Interesting choice of phrase for someone accused of using black magic.
I forgot what it's called. Voodoo? What can you tell me about voodoo?
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
What's to tell? She's a twisted, evil woman who got what was coming to her. Whoever attacked her deserves some sort of reward for the service they're doing the community.
So it
Hey, you're
wasn't
not-
you then?
No, I'm innocent, Mr.
Not helping
Ford.
your case.
You have to believe
Yeah.
me.
I'm afraid you're not making that very easy right now, Mr. Martin. Do you know anything about the circumstances of Madame Dupre's supposed death?
No, I had nothing to do with it.
Then why did her son accuse you?
Probably because he's just as ignorant as she is.
What I meant was, how did her son know to accuse you? Have you had any contact with the family before?
Yes, you could say that.
Uh-oh. That gleam in his eye says it all.
You see, I'm involved with Dupre's daughter, Juliette Montgomery. Dupre doesn't like that one bit. She even threatened me once.
Is that right?
Yes. She might have everyone else fooled, but that woman is the devil incarnate. I can't understand how something so heartless and cruel could have spawned someone as pure and, loving as my dear Juliet.
He's not really helping his case much, is he?
No, he's literally doing the opposite.
Tell me about Juliet.
She's wonderful. Such a beautiful, kind soul. She hasn't come to see me yet, but I'm sure that's because of all the confusion in the last few days. Juliet wouldn't believe for a second that I would be capable of harming her mother. I'm sure of it.
How did you two get involved?
We met at the university.
Sure
Your
is, Dream Beam.
classmates?
Hardly. They wouldn't allow someone like me to enroll there. Juliet studies botany. I work as an assistant in the greenhouse. We started talking, and she actually treated me like a person. To everyone else, I was just the boy who fetched the test tubes. But Juliet actually wanted to hear what I had to say. Had the same taste in books and art. Didn't just treat me like some piece of gardening equipment. She even shared some of her notes with me after I told her I was interested in botany as well. From there, things just got better. I don't expect you to understand or approve, but that's how it happened.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It doesn't sound too different to how my wife and I got together. Except I was a detective and she was a singer at a bar.
And she's...
Yes, Mr. Martin. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. How often is Juliet in the greenhouse?
Every weekday, but I doubt she's there now. She's probably trying to find out where I am and working to have me released.
Somehow, I wouldn't bet on that.
The Dream Boom, the more and more we play of this, the more and more it feels like a Gabriel Knight experience. She's rich.
How did you end up in here?
I was just minding my own business at home when the police showed up with no warning. They made some outrageous claims about me putting some sort of curse on Madame Dupre. The next thing I knew, I was here. Oh, Mama must be beside herself with worry. I just hope she's all right.
Mother.
What does your mother do, Mr. Martin?
She...
That's what I said.
People.
I was hoping you'd be just a bit more specific.
She provides spiritual help to those who seek guidance.
She's a spiritualist.
Oh my God.
Not quite. She's more like... How can I explain it? You know how a priest holds mass to spread the word of God to the people? My mother holds services and calls on the spirits to walk among us, providing healing and guidance.
So she's a religious leader?
If you want to give her that title, it would be the most appropriate.
And does this religion of yours have a name?
You'd probably know it as
Oh my God.
voodoo, but it doesn't mean what you think it does. People are so quick to judge and portray us as evil when they have no idea.
I have to go. I have to go somewhere. Anywhere. Suddenly.
So you practice voodoo, do you?
Are you making fun of me, Mr. Fordham?
No, of course not. Apologies if it seemed as though I was. It's just that the police are convinced that black magic was involved in Madame Dupre's apparent death.
That's because that idiot son of hers knew about my mother, and like all bigoted fools, assumed that we're involved in devil worship and the black arts. But I can assure you that this is most certainly not the case, Mr. Fordham.
Of course, I didn't mean to imply.
Just forget it.
That's all for now.
Wait, before you go, would you do me a favor? Would you go see my mother at our house and give her a message?
You're at 451 Compton Street, right?
Yes, that's right. Could you tell her I said St. Rock's dog is barking?
I suppose I could do that, yes.
What?
Oh, thank you.
Whatever happened to a simple I love you?
Oh my God. Somebody played Gabriel Knight and was like, I'm writing my own fan fiction. Good on this guy. Good on this guy. If only we didn't all hate Gabriel Knight in here. Especially Dream Boom. Actually, where's Seawalker?
You again. I told you I have no time for visitors.
Jimmy. He's playing the game right now, Jimmy. He's playing the game right now. So in my Discord real quick, I posted a video of a tennis game that is very much some sort of not legally distinct Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, but it's tennis. Yeah. That's not safe for work. Just a warning. It's not, unless your work is not safe for work. Anyways, back to this. I hope Dream Doom plays this game on stream. Is that who? I don't know, but it's legally distinct Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball with tennis.
You're Albert Martin's mother, aren't you?
Who are you?
Miles Fordham. I spoke with Albert, and he told me to give you a message. He said to tell you that St. Rock's dog is barking.
Oh, I see. That's good. That's very good. You better come in, Mr. Fordham. Standing on the street just won't do. Welcome to my home, Mr. Fordham. I am Sabine Martin. I hope you understand that Albert has nothing to do with this awful business. Would you care for some tea?
Well, her tune certainly changed when you gave her that message. I wonder what it meant.
No, thank you, ma'am.
Our
I
safe
won't
word.
be staying long.
Hope you guys know the safe word in here.
It's some old man with a dog standing at the center of a crossroads. If that's meant to have any sort of significance, it's completely lost on me. That pattern resembles a flower. Too bad it isn't an Easter lily. For all we know, that rider is some sort of demon. He looks like he's having a good time, at least. A rather unremarkable book collection, I'm sorry to say. That statue, on the other hand, gives me the willies. Interesting. Those pots look as though they've been wrapped in tobacco leaves.
Yeah, when I'm in trouble, the safe word, you just say I say something to let you know that I'm in trouble.
The Virgin Mary. I must admit, she was the last person I was expecting to see in here.
I've got a few questions for you, Mrs. Martin.
I'll try to answer them the best I can.
Do you think your son is capable of doing what he stands accused of?
Never. Albert wouldn't harm a fly.
That's what the mothers always say.
Why don't you tell me a bit more about him then?
He started working at the university laboratory a few years ago. I was so proud of him. The university is quite selective, you know. The same for its staff as well as its students.
Yes, I've gotten that impression.
I always told Albert to be careful around those high society types, but that one always thinks with his heart first.
Is she sure that's the correct body part?
He's all the family I have, Mr. Fordham.
I don't know, Mint. I didn't look at beyond. I watched the video, cracked up laughing, and stopped there. Posted it in Discord. Somebody else is gonna have to investigate. By the way, Claude, I know you hate Discord, but you are always welcome in my channel. Yeah, that could be. I mean, I assumed that. My assumption is that somebody else would actually go and deep dive more of whatever was going on there. Like Jimmy or Seawalker or somebody.
I never met her in person, but I know plenty about her.
Like what?
Nothing fit for a polite conversation, Mr. Fordham. But I can tell you this. Laura Dupre has far more enemies than she lets on.
Does that include you or your son?
It most certainly does not.
What do you know about Juliet, Madame Dupre's daughter?
I know Albert was smitten with her, no matter that I told him to be very careful around her kind. Those rich Creole families don't care much for people like us. To them, we're just a help. But from his telling, Juliet sounded to be a decent soul. It's a shame the same can't be said for her kin.
Oh my god. I woke up before noon.
If you'll indulge my curiosity, what exactly was the meaning of Albert's message?
Saint Roch is the patron saint of dogs, as well as the falsely accused. If he sent the message along with you, it means he trusts you, and that I should too.
Oh, I see.
Perhaps you were hoping for something more? That's just the way of mysteries, isn't it?
How do you mean?
The thrill of the unknown is always more exciting than the truth. Mystery makes life a little more interesting.
True, but if mysteries were really better unsolved, I wouldn't have a job. What exactly is it you do, Mrs. Martin?
I provide services to the public.
A delightfully vague answer if there ever was one. Give me something a bit more specific, please.
I'm a Mambo Asugwe. That means I'm what you call a voodoo queen. I'd give you a detailed explanation of the responsibilities and duties of the role, but your time would be better spent clearing my son's name.
Bro. We should ask Gabriel Knight what to do.
Can you tell me a bit more about your religious practices?
What I can tell you is that the ignorant whites in this city are afraid of us for no reason. Voodoo is not about black magic or dark spells or turning people into the living dead. It's about healing and life. Naturally, there are misguided souls who may try to use it for ill purposes, but I am not one of those.
Sounds like you hit a sore spot. Might be a good idea to stop pressing her on this angle.
What is voodoo all about? Spiritual practice rooted in West African voodoo, blending Catholicism, native African beliefs, involves rituals, the Loa ancestors. Popularly misunderstood as complex faith emphasizing community, healing, connection to the spiritual world. That's what I've learned from World of Warcraft. Her story checks out. The bot says it's right.
I think I'll take you up on your offer for tea, after all.
All right, Mr. Fordham. You'll have
tea
to
is
give me
everybody
3
drinking?
minutes to heat up the kettle. I'll be back shortly.
Alright, time to wander around. Still drinking my orange tea.
Amazing. Even more voodoo stuff back there. Why
Often
would
a
she
blood
keep these
stain.
particular items hidden from view?
Good question.
They obviously have some importance to her. I'd suggest asking, but I don't know if that's the best idea given how sensitive she seems to be about the subject.
The tea should be ready in a few minutes, Mr. Fordham. You can help yourself once it's done.
You're very kind, Mrs. Martin.
Just wait for the tea. Maybe a 2. 1, 2.
I've got a few questions for you, Mrs. Martin.
I'll try to answer them the best I can.
About that back room of yours.
I beg your pardon?
I don't know about this, Miles. Is this really a road you want to go down?
Man.
Actually, never mind. I misspoke. Thank you for your help.
My pleasure.
I don't want to press her on the subject, but I don't know what you're supposed to do here. Alright, leave.
Aren't you going to have your tea, Mr. Fordham?
I'm afraid I just remembered something important I need to look into. Perhaps later.
Suit yourself.
Wait, the tea.
You are aware this is private property, sir?
I'm a private investigator. I go where I want.
Yes, I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the incident involving Madame Dupre. I assume this is she?
You assume correctly, Mr. Fordham. My apologies, but I thought the police had already made an arrest.
That's right, but there's still some doubt as to the man's guilt. May I ask your name, sir?
I am Dr. Fellows, Madame Dupre's private physician. I'm afraid she is in no state to be answering questions at present.
Are any other members of the family home?
Her son, Mr. Montgomery, is in the entrance hall. I had to give him a mild sedative to settle his nerves, but he should be all right to converse.
Then if you don't mind, I'll have a look around.
I'm just gonna wander around.
This fountain probably looked nicer when it was working, but right now it's just a breeding ground for mosquitoes. With her vast sums of wealth, Madame Dupre could probably feed a starving family for the next 30 years. Instead, she uses the money to keep her hedges trimmed.
Keeping her hedges trimmed, all right.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
Tell me about Madame Dupre.
She is a great woman and a pillar of the community. I cannot imagine why something like this could happen to her, or how someone could be capable of such a...
This guy looks so much like the stereotypical doctor from this
I am
age.
confident she will overcome. The power of her physical constitution is surpassed only by her strength of character.
You think he'd say the same things if he wasn't on her payroll? I highly doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
What were the circumstances surrounding Madame Dupre's supposed death?
Her son, Andrew, sent for me a few days ago after finding her unconscious and unresponsive. As I was unable to detect a pulse or breath, I had no other recourse but to declare her deceased. I judged that Madame Dupre had likely suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. It was most shocking to be proven wrong at a funeral.
I can imagine. Where was the funeral held, by the way?
St. Denis Cemetery. Madame Dupre wished to be interred in the tomb of her father's family, name of Chesterton.
Perhaps I'll go have a look. How long have you been Madame Dupre's private physician?
5 years, and I've been practicing medicine for the past 30. I still spend a couple of days a week treating patients at Riverview Asylum.
Oh, good. Maybe if you're lucky, he could be your doctor someday.
30 years is quite a long time. You must have seen some incredible advances in the field of medicine.
I have, yes. I can only wonder how things will change with all this talk of ethericity. There's speculation it can be used to restore necrotic tissue and instantly heal broken bones, among other things. If you ask me, a good bloodletting will never go out of fashion.
What is going on in this town?
Did you examine Madame Dupre after she reanimated?
Of course. Physically, she appeared to be in fine health aside from minor dehydration. I found no marks or bruising on her body. Mentally is a different story, however. She's remained in an unresponsive state ever since.
Do you have any opinions on what caused Madame Dupre to appear dead?
The most likely cause I can imagine is some sort of poison or toxin.
What leads you to believe Madame Dupre was poisoned?
The symptoms she experienced were consistent with prior cases of poisoning I've studied. And didn't the young man arrested have ties to some kind of black magic cult? There have been reported cases of these practitioners using poisons to make people appear dead, then commanding them to do their bidding. I recall reading about a man in the West Indies who was given tetrodotoxin, that's the toxic secretion from a pufferfish, declared dead and buried. He appeared alive in his village some 20 years later.
Whoa.
Doesn't that seem a bit far-fetched to you, Doctor?
Facts are facts, Mr. Fordham. Surely someone in your line of work can appreciate that.
Good luck with the journey, Claude, whenever you go through that.
I've got for now.
I hope
games.
I answered them adequately.
You absolutely need to play the entirety of the first game. Still, I think.
Her eyes are glazed over, and she's got a vacant, expressionless stare. She seems completely oblivious to her surroundings. If we didn't know she'd been buried alive, I'd say she was just exhibiting the typical symptoms of your average rich person.
Ew, I also, speaking of video games, I plan on playing Snatcher this December, now that we're done with Metal Gear. Thought I'd throw that out there. It'll be December, though.
Oh, hello. Are you the new servant?
No, I'm Miles Fordham. I'm a private
Same, Dream
investigator
Boom,
looking
same.
into your mother's attempted murder.
How did you know I was her son? Oh, of course. You must have sensed it with your detective's intuition. I should have guessed by that giant head of yours.
I don't like this
Are
guy.
you feeling all right, Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, I'm fine. Much better than when those pesky police officers were snooping around earlier. But I like you, Mr. Fordham. I can already tell you're not like them at all. Please, call me Andrew.
I don't like this guy at all.
Yes, well,
Accidentally
I'll have
shoot
a look
him, too.
around, and I may need to ask you some questions. Do you think you can handle that?
I can. In fact, I really look forward to it.
If the good doctor gave him a
Oh my
mild
God.
sedative, I'd hate to see what the stuff you take would have done to him. What a beautiful parrot. Must have cost the Dupre's a cool copper. Do you suppose that's for the bird? Or perhaps so the Dupre family members can get a good look at themselves on the way out of the house? Dupre looks like she's holding on to that poor bastard for dear life.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
She came back from the dead. I couldn't believe it. My mother, resurrected, just like Jesus.
This guy is so high
yes.
right now.
I heard you're the one who accused Mr. Martin of the crime.
Oh, no, I already talked to the police about that. I don't want to think about it right now.
Yeah, this guy has so many red flags. It's insane.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
Oh, a little of this and a little of that. Nothing as exciting as what you do, I'm sure. Ooh, Tell me, do most bad people start crying when you catch them? I'll bet it's a laugh riot to see them sobbing away.
No, Mr. Montgomery, most of them don't.
Well, that's a real shame, isn't it?
This guy.
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliet?
I'm reminded of a famous quote, Mr. Fordham. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Let us part on good terms and avoid the subject altogether, please.
Oh.
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
I like looking at him. He has such pretty colors, doesn't he?
That he does.
You know, I've always wondered what he might taste like. Is that bad, do you think?
I really couldn't say, Mr. Montgomery.
Hey,
Thanks
is
for
that
your
you?
time.
No, thank you for yours.
This is ridiculous. He won't be of any use in this state. If it takes him as long to snap out of it as it takes you, we'll be waiting around here until noontime tomorrow. There has to be a way to bring him back to his senses. Maybe that quack outside knows something of use.
Let's go upstairs. Yep, they're just letting me walk around their house.
A horrible little porcelain figurine. Madame Dupre didn't strike me as the type to play with dolls. Goodness, someone went overboard with the flowers. This brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Ones I'd rather forget.
Dr. Tennyson's Vigor Pills. These would make a sloth act like a hummingbird. A gentle reminder that everyone's time is slowly running out. The Science of Pharmacology. Yeah, I'm sure it's riveting stuff.
These should be useful.
Decadent. What in the ether is that thing supposed to be? Actually, I'd rather not know.
Yeah, he mentioned bloodletting earlier.
Is this really the best that medical science has to offer? Why would anyone need so many flowers in one room?
Perhaps it's to mask the odors of those chemicals on the workstation.
Could be. Yeah, it must be a nice place to sit and listen to music. Oh, look! It's one of those new audio cylindergraphs. I can't quite wrap my head around how they can manage to get sound out of a wax cylinder.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it must be a nice place to sit and listen to music.
Wait. I was gonna play Dire Dire Docks. I can't remember how Dire Dire Docks. Try spelling Gabe. I tried. I can't remember how Dire Dire Docks goes. I assume I need to play this music.
Juliet really likes plants and flowers, doesn't she? I've never seen so many beauty products together in one place. Doesn't look like they get used much, though. I've never seen so many
Starting to suspect the guy in the jail as being the flower case.
Locked. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Let's have a look through these papers. Aha, what's this?
Am? What letter is Am? Believe in yourself. Remember to... See, dear Miss Montgomery, unfortunately I've been informed of a series of burglars in the neighborhood near renting from me, and caution, I've gone ahead and changed the locks. Please find and close a copy of your new key. Doesn't seem,
So, Juliet is renting a room in the Chum. That's certainly interesting. I can't wait to see what sort of dirty secrets she's got hidden away in there. Well, someone's fancy. I never liked these types of beds much. They feel too claustrophobic.
I always thought they had a certain appeal myself.
Yes, you would think that about a bed that lets you shut out the rest of the world.
Exactly, I love beds like that. Look, it's the carpet, but it's blue.
A much younger Madame Dupre. I suppose that's a nice alternative to a mirror. Ooh, a fainting couch. You know, I always wanted one of these, but I never fainted enough to justify buying one. One of those melodramatic romances. I read it a while back, and I couldn't tell you a thing about it. Now that one sounds interesting. I was always a fan of Bedletter's short stories.
Covenant of the Damned.
Doesn't appear to be very brief if there's 2 volumes of it. I wonder if anyone outside the family would find this even remotely interesting. Doesn't appear to... Choice and Consequence. Who in their right mind would write a book about that? I don't even want to know what that one's about.
They should have put one being titled A Golden Wake.
I read that one last year. If you ever wanted to know the intimate details of a buffalo's anatomy, I highly recommend it. Choice and...
It would appear that Madame Dupre was taking music lessons.
Her current predicament has probably put an end to that venture, though.
Like, this is just a scale, but what is this? Hold on, I'm getting my phone out to take a picture. So I need this entire thing.
That's an old uniform, from the turn of the century by the look of it. This must be Madame Dupre's first husband. Kinda strange that she'd still keep his portrait in the bedroom.
Maybe she really loved him.
Seems Madame Dupre fancies herself a poet.
Oh, Morpheus. I can't read. This is the worst handwriting I've seen in my life.
Well, that was life-changing.
For once in my life, I'm completely speechless.
Then perhaps I should take this with me and read it more often. Nah.
Nah. Achievement.
You've got some huge bags under your eyes, Miles. Reminds me of the case we had on that strange train.
Don't remind me.
Strange train.
Let's see if there's anything in these drawers. Damn, nothing but personal effects and more stationery.
Don't forget the first rule of detective work. If there's nothing useful inside, check underneath and between.
Ah, yes, of course. Thanks for the reminder.
Now this is intriguing.
I'm not going to warn you again. You disgusting something thug. Stay away from my daughter, my house, or I'll kill. faked her death. And then they went after the one guy. All set up. This is just scales. Well, maybe there's... True. Wait, hold on. Oh. I'll be right here waiting for you. Much harder to do on mouse. Still upset that they won't let me use... They won't let me rebind the keys in Infinity Nikki for the horn. How am I supposed to toot my own horn if you have to play both sides with one hand? Oh, wait, I forgot about the kitchen. And back. Just kidding.
Pardon me, miss.
What? Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm investigating the attempted murder of Madame Dupre.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm very busy. I can't help you.
Oh.
Do you know anything about what happened to Madame Dupre?
No, I don't. Please leave me to my work. I shouldn't be talking to you.
All right, I'm going.
Should have told her the thing about the dog.
Certainly no shortage of bowls or food preparation items around here. Some kind of water dispensing device, maybe? I was never very good at finding my way around the kitchen. Yeah, it looks like gumbo's on the menu tonight. I wonder how it compares with Upton's special recipe. It's times like these make me wish I could still eat. Looks like the type of spices you'd use in a stew. Most likely paprika or turmeric. Nice variety of reds and oranges. Judging by the amount of food this family probably eats, washing the dishes must take forever.
I was wondering when it would show up. Are we in Louisiana? Dang. Alright, well, I have to use the restroom really bad, so we're gonna take a like 2 or 3 minute break. Let's just take a look at the map. No, let's take a look at the... Oh, what? The map. And I'll be back in 2 seconds. Going back. How's everybody enjoying Gabriel Knight 2? Can't believe Blecky is missing this. Hi Blecky, hope you're enjoying the VOD of not Gabriel Knight. All right. Clock. Yeah, please message me right now with your favorite character. All right, we're going back to Madame Dupre because I meant to talk to this guy.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
May I ask exactly what kind of sedative you gave Andrew?
A simple tincture of laudanum. It's what I give all my nervous patients.
He seems a bit out of sorts.
Demon smalls.
Meat kettle.
It can have that effect, but it usually wears off in half a day or so.
Is there a way to bring him out of his condition sooner?
A stimulant would have the opposite effect, but I wouldn't recommend mixing the two. It could have potentially harmful effects on his heart.
Oh, of course. I wasn't planning on doing anything of the sort. I was just curious.
It's cute how you act like you have no experience in these matters. It's almost convincing.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
Talking about what? They're on there. You haven't checked in on this guy.
Nothing else to ask him right
Never
now.
mind.
He hasn't got much time left. Best not to waste it.
Is that right now? What was 76 Forest Lane? Oh, it was the place that What's-Her-Face was hiding. Something. Let's start with the universe. Yeah, me too, Jimmy.
It's as though we've journeyed to the tropics. I don't know how you can stand to keep that coat on in here. Quite the assortment of plants they keep in here. I wonder if they serve any purpose or are just meant to look pretty. Those flowers are definitely not native to this area. They seem to be thriving in their glass tubes, though. One of those cute little Japanese trees that are all the rage these days. Personally, I don't see how giving a tree a haircut is meant to be relaxing.
Anybody ever own a bonsai tree?
Judging from that pipe, that contraption must be used to keep the plants hydrated. But it looks like a giant earwax remover to me. I've never seen a flower grow that big. What do you suppose they're feeding them?
Pardon the disturbance, but are you Juliet Montgomery?
I am. And you are?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into the events surrounding your mother's attempted murder.
Ah, of course.
Have you got time to answer some questions?
Yes, that shouldn't be a problem.
Do you know anything about the events leading up to your mother's premature internment?
No, it was a complete shock. Mother seemed to be perfectly healthy and full of life. Then, without warning, she was dead. Or so we thought.
I take it you were glad to be wrong?
What a ridiculous question. Of course I was.
Looking
What
to the
sort
left.
of heartless beast would celebrate their mother's death?
Oh, I could name a few. Juliet definitely didn't shed any tears over Madame Dupre, though. That much is obvious.
Miss Montgomery, you don't have to lie to me. I'm not going to assume you tried killing your mother just because you weren't upset by her death.
I felt terrible about it. You have to understand, I didn't want her to be dead. I just felt a sense of relief. Please, don't think me a horrible person, Mr. Fordham. It's just that Mother and I aren't currently on the best of terms.
Why don't you and your mother get along?
We've never completely seen eye to eye on anything. She always disapproved of anything I did. When I was younger, she used to forbid me from speaking to the servants. I saw no harm in a kind word or smile, but she warned us that if we were too familiar, they would take liberties. Then when I declared my intentions to pursue academic studies, she really went livid. In her opinion, a university education was tantamount to a chastity belt. What sort of man would want a wife with a head full of useless facts, she'd say.
Personally, I've always found intelligence to be quite attractive.
I assume your mother didn't approve of your involvement with Mr. Martin?
A rather forward question,
A.B.
Mr.
Harold
Fordham.
Murder Club. I'm
But
looking it up.
You're not mistaken. I'm not sure how she managed to find out about Albert and me, but when she did, she nearly had a conniption. As I'm sure you can understand, the situation at home has been less than perfect in the last few months. I'd really rather not dwell on it.
You mentioned you were friends with the servants.
Yes, that's right. I didn't care that they worked for us. Everyone needs a friend.
Did your mother ever mistreat them?
Mistreat? No, I wouldn't say so. She was always very stern, though, and quite cold. If they ever shirked their duties or misbehaved, they were punished, of course, but nothing out of the ordinary that I ever saw. Most of the servants are my friends, but I'm closest with Amelie, the kitchen maid. Mother wasn't too happy about that. Amelie's been around as long as I can remember. She's like the aunt I never had.
Looking at this game, Harold, whatever. A.B. Harold. This looks like a Dream Boom game.
What can you tell me about Albert Martin?
I'm not quite sure where to begin.
Why not start by telling me what your relationship with him was?
We met here at the greenhouse. He was working as an assistant, sweeping and cleaning and fetching things for the students. My focus was on academics, naturally. I wasn't too interested in romance. In fact, I've had to turn away nearly every single one of my classmates. But with Albert, I found myself intrigued. I noticed him stealing glances, lingering just a bit too long after bringing over a book or flask, sweeping the same patch of floor near me over and over again. It wasn't too long before I had him bringing me tools and equipment, regularly.
I see.
As I mentioned, Mother was an absolute terror when she found out.
Do you believe Mr. Martin did what he stands accused of?
I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't seem like him, but Albert can be quite passionate. If the police believe he's to blame, then they must have a reason for it.
Wow, she just threw him under the rug.
Secret that he
under
hated
the
Mother.
bus.
Perhaps I should have ended things sooner. It was satisfying to know that Mother was displeased, but I never imagined it would lead to something like this.
Well, it's nice to see she's all heart.
She's totally in love.
So, you study botany. Fascinating subject.
Are you an admirer of plants, Mr. Fordham?
My wife has the green thumb in the household, but I do have a certain appreciation for them.
Plants are amazing things, just like people in many ways.
How do you mean?
They need attention and care. Ignore a plant, and it will wither. Give it too much attention, and it will become sick. Plants have many things to teach us, and I greatly enjoy learning from them.
True. You give me too much attention and I throw up.
What can you tell me about your brother?
Andrew, Mama's precious little boy. If you've met him, you pretty much know all you need to. He's had the whole world handed to him on a silver platter. But he's in for a rude awakening someday. Mother can only provide for him for so long.
These plants are impressive. Are they yours?
Yes, I've developed a method to make them extra healthy and strong.
They're larger than anything I've ever seen. How do you do it?
But I can't reveal my secrets, Mr. Fordham. The world will hear about my discoveries soon enough.
Incidentally, do you know anything about Easter lilies?
No, I don't keep or grow those here.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
About your parents. Do they know anything about Easter lilies? Let's go here.
Egad!
Wow.
Is this someone's room or a jungle?
Quite a fascinating array of plants in here. Not to mention the machinery on the table.
Seems like Juliet is very interested in getting extra credit.
Us.
I wonder what sort of fertilizer or growth tonic these plants are getting. Whatever it is, it's definitely working. That's quite the book collection. It almost puts Adelaide's to shame.
All impeccably cataloged and organized as well, which makes the 2 missing volumes stand out even more.
The 2 missing volumes.
That's quite the...
All impeccably cataloged.
Those are the most vibrant flowers we've seen in a while. I bet they smell extra strong.
Yes, they certainly do.
It's a good thing you're the one with the nose. This plant makes Miles Jr. look like a single blade of grass. They appear to be scientific scribblings. I can't make heads nor tails of them.
That makes 2 of us.
They appear to be...
That makes 2 of...
I have no idea nor desire to know what purpose that thing has. They're just doing what flies do best. Etheric pressure. What a bunch of nonsense.
Well now, this is interesting.
Ripples, root systems. Plants thrive from exposure to small etheric currents. Further experiments are needed to determine long-term effects. Plants, muscle control loss. Animals with greater cognitive ability, including humans, are exposed to specific quantities of ethericity that will go into a stupor, appearing unconscious, unresponsive, or dead.
Just a bunch of technical nonsense. I can't understand a word of it. I'm guessing they're probably full of more scientific equipment or plant-related stuff. Ah, St. Denis Cemetery. Best view in the city. It's just a shame none of the residents can enjoy it. I think I'm buried around here somewhere. Wonder how the old gravestone is doing these days. Nice view of the river from up here. You can hardly even see the cloud of smog over the chum. Looks like people have left markings and offerings in front of this tomb. You may think it's a silly superstition, but I wish you'd leave a bottle of Bollingworth at my grave every now and then. This just goes to show you can't take it with you, so you might as well spend it all on a giant tomb. This just goes to show you. I don't know him. Must be a recent addition to the force. Well, at least he won't recognize you. If only that police officer wasn't guarding the tomb, you could go in there and raid it to your heart's content.
Good day to you, officer.
I'm surprised it's not above Toad Town.
How may I be of assistance?
Star Road. Oh.
Sure is a nice day to be walking around the cemetery, wouldn't you agree?
I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. Personally, the noise those bugs are making is starting to drive me crazy.
Would you mind letting me in the tomb, please?
Afraid I can't do that, sir. This tomb is currently part of a police investigation and ain't available for visits until further notice.
I'm the police.
But it's my dearly departed Aunt Hester's birthday today, and I always bring her flowers.
I'm sorry, sir, but I've got my orders. Come back in a few days. I can assure you, your aunt won't have gone anywhere.
Rude.
Good day to you, officer.
Afraid I ain't got time for idle chat, sir. Please, move along.
Welcome back, Mr. Fordham.
She's not gonna be much help right.
Sorry, didn't mean to bother.
Could I ask you some more questions, Mr. Martin?
It's not like I'm going anywhere.
Albert, did you hate Madame Dupre?
The woman is cruel, sadistic, and bigoted. When she found out about my relationship with Juliet, she sent me a letter threatening to have me killed if I got near her house or her daughter. So yes, Mr. Fordham, I hated her. But even so, I love her daughter. I wouldn't be so cruel as to take Juliet's mother away from her, even if she hated her too.
I beg your pardon?
Juliet and her mother didn't get along at all. I never asked why, but it was obvious there was something going on.
Intriguing.
That's all for now.
Not much in the way of comfort. No bed or even a bucket. It's a good thing this place is meant for short stays. He's watching you like a hawk. Looks liable to toss you in one of his cells if you try any funny business.
Can we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
I wanted to go over the case with you.
Okay, what have you got?
I don't know.
I seem to have hit a roadblock. There's an officer posted at Dupre's family tomb, and he won't let me in.
Makes sense. Who's the officer?
I've never seen him before. He's young, has a small scar over his left eye, and a distinct Dixie accent.
Ah yes, that would be Officer Grant. He's only been with the department for about 2 months. I don't know a lot about him, but he's already got the reputation for being the type of policeman who'd go out of his way to help old ladies cross the street. Typical Southern gentleman, it seems. Perhaps you can use that to your advantage?
Madame Dupre's son isn't being very helpful.
Is he refusing to talk?
More like incapable. The family doctor has him pretty well drugged to the gills. I need to find some way to perk him up.
Well, you know, we are in a coffee house.
I have a feeling it will take something a touch more powerful than coffee.
Two
That's
coffees?
enough about the case for now.
Okay.
That's it, I think.
Then you'd better get back to it.
She's running back. All that.
Big coffee? Dang, I miss my cat. She's asleep right next to me. I put my hand on the ottoman and she put her hand on top of my hand. So now my hand's trapped.
Good day to you, officer.
Afraid I ain't got time for idle chat, sir. Please, move along.
Good day to you, officer.
Afraid, please.
Hello again, Miss Montgomery. Mind answering a few more questions?
Hello, Mr. Fordham. Not at all.
Do you know anything about ethericity, Miss Montgomery?
You surprised me, Mr. Fordham. I had no idea someone of your profession would know or care about something like that.
I've found that it pays to be open-minded.
To answer your question, yes, I am familiar with the theory of ethericity. In fact, it's recently become a focus of my studies. Despite what the newspapers have been reporting, it's already possible to access it in small quantities from the air around us.
Have you conducted any experiments?
No, my research has been purely theoretical. I don't have the means to do anything practical, I'm afraid.
Deceiver, dissembler, her trousers are alight. I can't understand why Juliet might not want to make her research public, though.
Like the liar, liar, pants on fire reference.
Miss Montgomery, please don't lie to me. I know you've been conducting experiments with ethericity. I've seen the room you're renting on Forest Lane.
What? But how?
I'm a detective.
I wouldn't be very good at my job if I didn't find things out, Miss Montgomery. Now please, drop the act and tell me about your experiments.
Fine. I've been researching etheric effects on living organisms. I'm planning on presenting my discoveries to the board once I make more progress. So far, I've managed to discover that plant growth is accelerated significantly. It's given me quite the advantage in class.
But isn't that cheating?
You have no idea how difficult it's been for me to be taken seriously, Mr. Fordham. No matter how hard I tried, my work wasn't valued on its own merits by my peers or professors. I fought hard to get where I am. I wasn't about to lose all that just because some pig-headed idiots didn't think my best was good enough.
That sounds awfully familiar.
What about your notes on the effects of ethericity on animals?
Oh, those aren't complete. I haven't tested the effects on anything larger than flies. Those experiments were mainly to satisfy my curiosity, but they have little to do with my actual research.
Curiosity? Seems like a lot of effort to go to just to answer a question. But then, I never really understood these scientific types.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Definitely feel like I'm solving a mystery. We're at that point where I start, like, rubbing my temples, thinking. I wish I could remember it was like the Flooded City, I think was what it was called. Whoa, demon, spoilers. Oh, Claire, come back. Well, we can't go back there. I guess we go back here. Oh wait, the girl mentioned that she was friends with the answer. She mentioned she was friends with this lady, I think. Emily.
Pardon me, miss.
I told you I'm very busy, and I'll get in trouble if I'm caught speaking to you.
Amelie, please. I need to know what you know about Madame Dupre.
What? How did you know my name?
I'm a detective.
Juliet told me about you.
Miss Juliet?
Yes, I spoke to her at the university. She mentioned you two were friends.
Yes, that's right. She's always been so good to me.
Look, Amelie, I'm just trying to get some information. And I have a feeling you can be very helpful if you just let me talk to you.
All right, fine. But do it as fast as you can.
Fast as I can.
Tell me about Madame Dupre.
Oh, I really shouldn't, sir.
It would greatly help my investigation if you did.
Madame Dupre was kind enough to hire me as her cook. It's hard to get jobs in the city. Lots of people want their servants to use those new machines. My sister's brother-in-law got half his leg blown off by one of those new ovens. He's lucky he wasn't killed.
Whoa.
So I'm plenty happy working here doing real people's work. But Madam, can be difficult sometimes.
Difficult? What do you mean by that?
No, I said enough.
What do you know about Juliet?
She was always so kind to me and the others, but her mother don't like that one bit. Still, she sneaks down into the kitchen to keep me company some nights. Even though she's a good soul, I think part of her does it just to spite her mother.
What can you tell me about Andrew?
He ain't so bad. Kinda spoiled, but he mostly cleans up after himself. Has a whole private part of the house, but I think he only uses one room. Better for me, way less to clean.
What do you know about Madame Dupre's supposed death?
All I can tell you is that whoever did it really hated her.
Do you know Albert Martin, the man accused of the crime?
No, I'm sorry.
Are you the only remaining servant here?
No, there's another one, Marcel. He's the new gardener. I haven't seen him in a few days, though. Not since before Madame's incident.
Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Now please, let me get back to work.
I've never seen so many beauty.
Locked. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.
I was gonna say, didn't we get a key? But I think that was to the apartment she was using. Style. Solving the mystery or Gabriel Knight? Have you played Gabriel Knight?
They're all empty. How unusual.
Not to mention disappointing.
I see. This reminds me of the Flooded City. I think that was what it was called. Sunken City? Sunken something. Gabriel Knight is like this, but really cringe. Imagine if they just added cringe constantly.
Doesn't appear to be choice and con. One of those. Now that one.
Screen is so sus.
I don't even want. I read that one. You've got some huge bag.
Don't. The bottle is empty.
The science of pharmacology. I don't know much about art, but I see Madame Dupre and I at least have similar tastes.
Might be hint time.
This is always my favorite part of detective work.
Nothing inside but a bunch of extra doilies.
Ugh, how disappointing. Maybe you should steal one, just to spite Madame Dupre for not giving us any good clues.
No,
Yeah.
Bill.
You're no fun, Miles.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
I found this bottle of pills upstairs. Are they yours?
Yes, I take those from time to time when I'm feeling tired.
You seem to be out.
Yes, that is a pity.
Where do you usually acquire them?
Oh, they're available by mail order only. I'll have to remember to request some later.
Thanks for your time.
No, thank you for yours.
Alright, this guy.
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you.
Pieces of 8?
Aye, matey.
What?
So long, birdie.
Bye-bye.
Her eyes are glazed over. If we didn't know, this quack hasn't gotten anything more.
Home at last.
Hello, Miles. So what's this big case Upton's got you on? Another missing pet?
If only. A Gascon Grand Dame was attacked and almost interred alive.
You mean Madame Dupre? The one whose obituary was in the paper?
The very same.
Goodness, that does sound serious. Tell me if there's anything I can do to help. I know you haven't been feeling your best lately.
You're always a help to me, Addie. Though I assure you I have this well in hand.
No, I don't.
Certainly hope so.
Hey, you got any of them vigor pills?
Addie?
Yes, dear?
Oh, God.
I've still got that song you sang last week at the Rutherford stuck in my head. You were amazing.
Thank you, Miles. That was a lovely evening. I always enjoy it when Joseph brings out his violin and we can relive the old days.
Certainly nicer than when he spends hours telling the exact same story whenever you visit.
They were very glad to see you, you know.
It's probably the most fun I've had in months, to be honest.
They've invited us for dinner again in a couple of weeks, if you're feeling up to it.
I hope I am.
Hey, somebody I know has been learning the Legend of Gaia speedrun recently.
Do you know anything about Madame Dupre?
I've read that the Dupreys are one of the few wealthy families that exclusively employ real people to serve. Rather commendable, don't you think?
Yes. It makes it even more baffling why she was attacked. Have you heard any gossip from your clients? Anything about who might have wanted to harm her?
Is morning.
She's held in the highest regard by the other Grand Dames. If she had actually died, I'd have expected them to petition her canonization.
I'm good at names. Morning. Something. MC? Morningcraft?
What's that you're reading?
It's a collection of short stories by James Penstroke. It was just
Yeah,
published
that's it.
earlier this month.
Any good?
Oh yes, I love his work. He's been publishing a new serial in Brentwell magazine. I can't wait to read it. Perhaps we both can together? I think you'd enjoy him.
Lately, I haven't been able to concentrate on a page for more than 5 minutes without nodding off.
That is a pity.
I was wondering if you could do me a favor.
What is it?
There's an officer posted in front of Madame Dupre's family tomb, and I need to get a look inside. Could you use your wiles and charm to distract him?
My wiles and charm,
Well, you are irresistible, darling. I'm sure he wouldn't turn away a lady in need. Say you've gotten lost in the cemetery and ask him to show you the way out.
Should we really be tricking a police officer like that?
There's no harm in it, and I won't be but a moment inside. It's in a good cause.
All right, let's go then.
Aha!
Excuse me, officer. I was wondering if you could help me?
What do you want?
I seem to have gotten all turned around. Do you have any idea how to get to the front gate?
My suggestion would be to turn around and head back the way you came.
Yes, I've tried that, but I seem to just be going in circles. Perhaps you could point me in the right direction?
Stop right there. That's quite enough from you.
I beg your pardon?
Don't think I can't tell what your game is. You're trying to lure me away from here and into some alley where your gang of Sambos is gonna rob me blind.
Wow.
Exactly how many of them have you got lying in wait for poor, unsuspecting fools you bring them?
Just one. And he doesn't appreciate you talking to his wife that way.
You know, Miles, sometimes I forget how absolutely delightful it is to watch you lose your head.
Miles, was that really necessary?
I'm sorry, Addie. You know how I get with people whose minds are full of that rubbish.
Let's just get him out of sight before this lands both of us in jail. That bush over there should work. I have to say, I wasn't expecting assaulting a policeman to be on today's activity list.
It'll be fine. When you're on the force as long as I was, you can pretty much get away with murder.
Although I think you may have already used up that privilege.
Well, it's been fun, but I need to take my wiles and charm over to my appointment with Mrs. Lefebvre. I'll see you at home later, dear. Try to stay out of trouble.
That was not on my actual, like, in my head, my list of solutions. Did not expect that to play out that way at all.
That nest is full of eggs. But where's the mother bird?
Perhaps she abandoned it.
Always assuming the worst, aren't you, Miles? I suppose the whole heaven shining down upon the tomb motif is good for the dead people's self-esteem. What a dramatic statue. I'm rather surprised no one has defaced it.
Celine, 1823 to 1844. Taken too soon. Rest ye with the angels.
Check out 2 cops today.
John Patrick Chesterton, 1740 to 1825. Patriarch, leader, family man. Desmond Chesterton, 1740. Jane Scott.
This must be what was going to be Madame Dupre's final resting place.
I don't see anything inside.
What? Were you expecting a note from her attacker?
No, but I was hoping for some kind of clue at the very least.
This must be what was going to...
I don't see...
What? Were you expecting a note from her attack?
No, but I... William Arthur. Celine. Sarah Chesterton, 1784 to 1812. I told you I was sick.
Oh, my God.
Douglas Chesterton, Dale Chesterton, 1790.
These crypts are reserved for future generations of Chestertons to rot in.
There are only 3 left.
Then let's hope the Chestertons aren't opposed to spending eternity cozied up to one another. What a dramatic statue. What a
I don't see anything else. We didn't get anything.
That nest.
Perhaps she abandoned.
Always assuming. I suppose. This must be.
I don't see anything inside.
What?
No.
These crypts are.
There are only.
Then let's.
What pixel are we missing? Huh. No, I don't think so. I think I got like 9 or 10 episodes in and gave up. Never gave up on the pixel. It's too late, I left. Dang, I'll never find out. Did you finish all of Chaika
It might
yet?
do you some good to look in the. That poster brings back some memory.
Yes.
time thinking. We're rubbing our temples at the time. God, what? I think it was The Flooded City was the name of that game. Where it was like, you were like solving a mystery. You were like really solving a mystery. They didn't give you any clues. It was like, this one it's a little, since it's not like a 3D open world thing and you are given very limited options. It feels like I just go to every single place, click on everything until he stops repeating himself, and then I just keep repeating that over and over again. Which I'm trying not to do. I'm trying to like actually try and solve the mystery. I don't want to go around just clicking on literally everything.
She's busy.
Run out of options. 'Cause that's not fun at all.
Judging from that pipe.
I'm like actually trying to solve a mystery.
This quack has a... This fountain...
John Patrick Chesterton, Desmond Chesterton, Jane Scott Chesterton, William Arthur Chesterton.
Let's see if there's anything that like... Is there anything in here that would line up with the piano?
We haven't anything to discuss right now, Fordham.
Anybody that's been watching this whole time got any input? Yeah.
Nothing else to add?
Might have to look up. And I just talked to the coffee lady.
Welcome back, Mr. Fordham.
She's not gonna...
Back to the gumbo lady. Have I checked Sawcon? What's Sawcon? Actually, speaking of Sawcon, I looked up TwitchCon today. Oh, Sawcon D Slatus, they got me.
Stick around. I may...
Don't worry, I'm...
Yeah, it looks like...
Gumbo. Alright, I'm looking up. Something. What's the name of this Lamplight lady? No, I don't have any items. Like, there's no... You have your clues, your suspects, your documents. I don't know what these tweezers... You can't, but you can't, like, use. And the tomb is messing me up, because there's nothing... Or no. Okay, wow. Hold up. We haven't gotten this yet. I don't know if I should say this. I'm reading the about Lamplight City in this guide. You can actually get not necessarily dead-ended, but have a case be unsolvable and close the case and move on. So how you treat people diplomatically and whatever, and in order to actually get clues and stuff, plays into how you solve each of the different cases that exist in this game. So it's actually possible to reach a dead end in the case and then just declare it unsolvable and move on to the next case. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I'm gonna keep going though. Oh, something I didn't do that I apparently could have done. Oops. This is also something I never would have thought of.
Hard to believe it's already been 3 months since the big crash. So what do you think will happen if this ethericity stuff turns out to be real?
What are you know? Don't even.
So you plan on going to the Lygia Vigil tonight?
Nah. I heard Harris is gonna be giving a speech. There's no way I could look that man in the face.
You know it's not his fault, right? I think he's getting an unfair reputation.
If he cared enough to make sure the airship was safe, it never would have crashed. He's as much at fault as anyone.
You really should go. Eliza would have wanted it, I think.
I know, you're right. I'll think about it. How are things at the steel mill?
Oh, you know, same old, same old.
Have they bought in any of the new automated machines?
Painting?
Not yet, but the boss has been talking about it. Some of the boys have been talking, and they ain't happy about the idea.
Well, you didn't hear this from me, but I heard the Redites are gonna be making some moves very soon.
The Redites? I thought they was just a story.
Oh no, they's real all right. But this ain't the place to be talking about them. Forget I said anything.
Have you been hearing about this ethericity nonsense?
Nah, I don't pay much attention to the news. What is it?
Oh, it's some stuff found in the sky. It's supposed to be better than electricity. It's supposed to be able to heal people and has all sorts of other miracle powers.
Sounds like a bunch of hokum to me.
Hokum.
Yeah, the scientist who claims to have discovered it's a real crackpot. But the funny part is, there's a bunch of rich folks willing to pay for his experiments. They think it's the future.
Well then, maybe the scientist ain't so much a crackpot as a very smart businessman. I sure wish I had the imagination to come up with something like that.
And it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a pixel here.
It looks as though this folded piece of paper is being used as a bookmark. I hope remembering what page they were on wasn't too important.
Looks like it's a letter for Andrew.
This is an agreed upon fee. I wouldn't be able to concentrate on exams without this help. Doctors are sending them out. Thank goodness for good people like you with home pharmacies. Look for them in the usual spot under the Weeping Angel. Joshua. Sorry to hear about your mother. I'll wait a few days before passing by. Under the Weeping Angel. I did find the tune for this, which is...
That's a nice melody. Reminds me of my mother.
I don't get it.
That's a nice melody.
Maybe it's an inside joke.
What a dramatic statue. Hang on. You don't suppose this is... Surprise, surprise! A hidden compartment with a stash of pills inside. Seems Mr. Montgomery has a little business on the side. I have to admit, it's a fairly ingenious hiding spot.
What it seems like. I mean, there could be a million other things I'm missing. I went as far in the guide as I thought to maybe advance our... Or why don't just click on the map.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
You'll never believe what I found in your family's tomb.
Oh? Was it a ghost?
No, it was these vigor pills. You wouldn't happen to know how they got there, would you?
I see you really are good at your job, aren't you, Mr. Fordham?
Look, Andrew, I'm in no mood for games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to overlook your unlawful activities in exchange for your cooperation.
Fine, but you have to understand, I'm not exactly feeling myself right now.
I understand perfectly, which is why I need you to take one of these pills.
I suppose one would help. Thank you. My goodness, I always forget how fast those pills work. My heart is racing. You said you had questions, didn't you? Well, go on, ask them already. We mustn't waste any more time.
Well, that seems to have done the trick. I just hope we haven't doomed him to a heart attack.
Uh-oh.
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
Yes, Ray is nice when he's quiet. But get him started and it's tough to shut him up.
Who trained him?
I think he already knew some phrases when Mother bought him. She's managed to teach him a few new ones, though.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
I can't believe anyone would be so cruel as to do what that wretched bastard Martin did to her. Mother is kind and generous and everyone loves her. She's even good enough to hire actual people to do the housework. Not many wealthy families do that, you know. They just use automated machines or hire servants to operate the manual ones.
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliet?
Juliet, smart as a whip and just as forgiving. She's a fighter, that one. Despite being the only woman in her class, she's managed to rank at the top.
Impressive.
I only wish Mother was more accepting of Juliet going to university. But you don't want to hear about boring family matters, I'm sure.
Oh, but family matters are my favorite. It's always so reassuring to know how much worse off everyone else is.
What's your relationship with the servants like?
Relationship? I don't have one with them. They're servants. Mother always made it clear that they weren't part of the family, just help. We've only got 2 on staff right now, though, the kitchen girl and the gardener.
What exactly were the circumstances leading up to your mother's supposed death?
A few days ago, I arrived home from school and found her collapsed on the floor. She wasn't breathing, so I immediately contacted Dr. Fellows. He examined her and pronounced her dead. We were all completely shocked. I was devastated. She'd been in fine health. In fact, she'd just been out riding that morning. You can imagine our surprise at the funeral when she sprang back to life.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
I study pharmacology at the university. I'll be graduating next year if all goes well. I just hope Mother has recovered enough by then to understand what's going on. She and Jean were so proud of me when I started university. I'd be so disappointed if she couldn't see me finish.
I just realized who this guy reminds me of. He sounds just like Maida in The Third Birthday. It's not the same VIA, but it's absolutely a similar sounding voice.
I take it Jean is your stepfather.
He is. Mother married him 5 years after my father died of consumption.
My condolences. Do you have a good relationship with him?
Not terribly. Truth is, I hardly ever see him. In fact, before the funeral, I hadn't seen him at all this month.
Where is he now?
I don't know for certain, but it seems likely he's at his hunting cabin.
His hunting cabin?
Yes, he often goes there. It's his way of leaving polite society behind and spending time with his thoughts. Considering what Mother just went through, well, I would guess that's where he's gone. Although, to be honest, I don't know why he's not here with Mother in her time of need.
Why do people run away from their problems instead of facing them? Why, Miles?
Do you know where this cabin is?
Afraid not. I don't share his passions, so I never cared much to accompany him on his outings.
I think this guy's innocent, to be honest.
How is it you know Albert Martin?
He works at the greenhouse where my sister Juliet does her research. The two of them were involved romantically, and Mother didn't like that at all. I heard their fights. They were ghastly.
What exactly made you suspect he was the one responsible for what happened to your mother?
Well, I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? His mother's a notorious voodoo witch. Those people do all sorts of awful things to our kind. It's all out of spite, you know. He knew Mother disapproved of his relationship with Juliet, so he plotted to get rid of her.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
I have some questions.
All right.
I'm really on the fence about asking about this one.
So, you're running some kind of pill business on the side?
I'm providing a service, Mr. Fordham. Not everyone in this life is as lucky as I am.
Yeah.
People pay top crown for luxuries like airship tickets and social club memberships. Medicine should be affordable to all. Dr. Tennyson has a patent on the energy pill formula and thus a monopoly on the market. That means he can charge whatever he wants. Students use these kinds of pills all the time, you know. Academic rigors can be overwhelming, and concentrating can be difficult without help sometimes. I've got the skills and the equipment. If I can replicate the formula, help my fellow students, and sell them at a much more reasonable price, why shouldn't I?
There's the fact that what you're doing is illegal.
Oh, you're starting to sound just like Mother. And just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's immoral. I can think of plenty of examples where the opposite is true.
You're probably the most altruistic person I've met all month.
The sad part is it's true.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's entirely changed my how I approach, because I also didn't press the matter with the lady before. I'm always that way in all these games, I think. I'm really hesitant to ask certain things, even when I know for certain it's not going to have any impact. It just doesn't sit right with me sometimes. Wait, so...
Amelie?
Yes? What is it? We mustn't be seen talking.
Anything you can tell me about Jean?
I hardly ever see him, only at dinner. He's scared of Madame, and so he finds any reason to get out of the house and stay away as long as he can.
Scared of her?
Oh, it's true. You should see him when they're in private, like a shamed puppy that dirtied the carpet.
Interesting.
Do you have any idea why Jean is so afraid of Madame Dupre?
If he's seen the same things we have, then yes.
What kind of things?
No, I spoke out of turn. Forget I said anything.
Amelie, listen to me. A potentially innocent man's life is on the line. If I don't find out who attacked Madame Dupre, he's as good as dead. So if there are any facts or details you know that I don't, you need to tell me.
I can't.
You can. I'm not with the police. If Madame Dupre did something wrong, I'm not going to look the other way. Trust me, I'm on your side.
Madam beats the servants. I think she even does it for fun. I hear the screams sometimes. I don't know how anyone else in the family doesn't. Maybe they do and just ignore it, I don't know. But if Mr. Dupre knows what she do, it explains why he's so scared of her.
Oh.
Did Madame Dupre ever abuse you?
No, I was lucky, but some of the others weren't.
Like who? I need details, Amelie.
The old gardener, Guy Dumas, and one of the maids, Celine. I saw Madame going after them the most. Don't know what they did to deserve it, but I would see her walk by in a rage, whip in one hand and a book in the other.
A book? What book?
Oh, I don't know. I can't read, so I don't know what it said on the cover. But it's the same color as the stew spice I always use. Don't know what she used it for, but she always had it with her, just before a beating.
Maybe she'd recite them some of her terrible poetry. I'm sure that was torture enough.
Tell me more about Guy and Celine.
They were deeply in love with each other. I used to hear them talk about how they wanted to run away together.
What happened to them?
I don't know. One day they were here, and then one day they weren't.
Do you think Madame Dupre may have done something to them?
I couldn't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if she had. Please, let's not talk about this anymore.
Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Now please, let me get back to work.
Well, this should be the book Amelie mentioned. Well, what have we here?
A whip, and it has dried blood on it. How ghastly.
This house is just full of secrets, isn't it? A much younger. There are way more important things to concern.
Let's see. Tribe of engineers. Okay. Question 100. Alright, since we're on question 100 in trivia, and I've specifically set myself up in this room to know to talk to her. You'll get it eventually, Claude. I believe. Anyways, we're gonna stop here for today. We'll stop, Lamplight City. Really didn't know what to expect with this game. It took a really wacky turn to begin with, and then it turned out to be Gabriel Knight. But I don't know, I don't remember a lot about Gabriel Knight in terms of progression, because I used a guide to get through that one. So I don't know if this, if Gabriel Knight was also like this in terms of, like, trying to actually solve a mystery. But like I said earlier, since this is, like, we're trying to solve a mystery, I'm trying my best to, like, solve the mystery rather than literally just like going to the map and then just like clicking on everything, literally just going back and clicking on everything every time I get kind of stuck. But it's been interesting so far, to some extent. It also keeps giving me, Sunken City, I don't remember the name of that game, vibes of that game. Yeah, I try to forget Gabriel Knight, it was so cringe. This one is at least not cringe, for the most part. It's got a few cringe moments, but not as bad as Gabriel Knight. So yeah, we'll stop here. We'll continue this next week.